Welcome to Irish Footy Vlogs, guys, and this is the channel that gives you a matchday vlog weekly. Today we're doing the preview show for the Premier Division, the First Division fixtures this weekend. Let's get into it. Now, first up, we've Waterford FC, and they entertain Derry City at the RSC. This will be Waterford's third game in a row at the RSC because their game away to Sligo was cancelled last weekend. Previous two home games, unfortunately for them, they were beaten 2-0 by Bohemians and 2-0 by Shamrock Rovers. Derry is another difficult one for them at home. Derry City confident after getting a win in their last game, 2-0 home to Bohemians after a tricky start. The season 4 points after 3 games, but they'll be more upbeat after that win against Bohemians, and it was a good performance as well. It's a difficult one for me to predict because you're thinking, will Waterford lose 3 games on the bounce at home? And then you're thinking, Derry City, particularly in the counter-attack, are going to be very strong. Mallon showing great form against Bowles, Figure off the bench. It'd be interesting to see if they play Harkin. Harkin didn't play against Bowles. He came on as a sub, as did Figure. So it shows their depth that Derry have in this squad as well. And they've got good choices now up front. They've Nielsen, who hasn't actually scored for them yet, and Little, who actually scored and set up a goal for them so far. So Little might get the nod for this game, perhaps. I thought he'd get the nod last week. He didn't quite get it. Waterford, something they lack, I think, is attacking threat, to be honest. They're decent at the back. Midfield, they're industrious, but I think they lack, at this minute in time, players that can change a game that Derry might have. They'll be looking to Michael O'Connor to get off the mark for them in this game, but they'll be looking to keep it tight and make it 1-0, in my opinion. What am I going to go with? Unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to say another home defeat for Waterford. I think Derry might nick this one. So I'm going to say Waterford FC 0, Derry City 1. Now, also on Friday night, Finn Harps take on Dundalk up in Finn Park. And this will be Finn Harps' second home game this season. They beat Shelbourne in their previous home game. And a couple of away performances since, where they drew at Derry, unlucky not to win it obviously, and lost last time out 1-0 in Cork. This will be a difficult game for Dundalk to hit back after their 3-2 defeat against Shamrock Rovers, because, you know, when you lose like that, you're probably hoping for a home game. Finn Harps, the pitch is going to be bumpy. It's not going to be easy to play on. Dundalk do like to play, a bit of football. But they do have previous. They played in Tolka Park and Shelbourne when the conditions were terrible and won that game. So, you know, they're capable of grinding out results clearly because they've won the league numerous times over the last few years. You don't win the league by just playing good football. So they can mix it up, Dundalk, obviously. Finn Harps have been going well. They're definitely fairly mean at the back so far. And I think this will be a game that Dundalk will have to grind out again. You know, they've got players who can win games, and Jordan Flores has obviously scored a few crackers recently enough. Hooban has started the season very well, which is a good sign for Dundalk. Excuse me, have my tea. Which is a good sign for Dundalk because obviously he scored, I think it was 13 goals last season, but he started off with 3 goals and is looking sharp, so he's in line, I think, maybe to hit 20 goals this season if he stays injury-free. So they'll be looking to him for the goals. Obviously, he applies more to their game than that. His hold of play, we all know, is excellent, and he brings the likes of Duffy and McElhenney into the game, and whoever's coming from midfield, like a Flores. Finn Harps, have got Barry McNamee, of course. He's a creative force. But they'll be looking to dig deep, as usual. As I said, they're mean at the back. Webster and McElhenney seem to have struck up a partnership early on for Finn Harps. Up front, they've a few players. They've obviously signed a new striker from Austria. Logler has come in, so you just see how he gets on. I think Dundalk will win this game, though. I think it'll be scrappy. I think it'll be fairly tight, but they'll nick it 1-0, I think. Finn Harps 0, Dundalk 1 at Finn Park. Now, Richmond Park on Friday, St Patrick's Athletic will take on Cork City. Pats coming off the back of a poor performance at Shelbourne and a defeat. Cork coming off the back of a good performance and certainly a confidence boost in 3 points at Turner's Cross against Harps. So this is going to be an interesting one because if Pats weren't to win this, I know fans will start to get a bit concerned because obviously they've had 3 games so far. With the game called off against Derry, beating at home to Waterford, who've struggled since, beating at Shelbourne obviously as well, where they did not perform. I don't think on the day. It seems that Robbie Benson might be out for about a month. He's picked up a hamstring injury, might miss up to a month for Pats, so that's a big blow for them. They're the type of team, I think, looking at them so far, if whoever scores first is going to be crucial. Pats' mentality seems to change big time depending on who scores first. It's very hard to see them win a game or even sometimes get a point when they go behind, so they'll be looking to get ahead. Cork City have a very young side, so they might be a bit dodgy mentally as well. It might be a case of if they go behind, their heads might drop a little bit too. So it's intriguing, this game, in that sense. They need more goals in their team, Cork, as well. Pats have a lot of creative players, but they need to get the balance in their midfield right for this game, which hasn't been right in my view. I'd suggest bringing in Lennon. Cork, Darragh O'Connor is still there. He hasn't really got off the mark this season. Alec Byrne, 20-year-old graduate, scored last week, so that's good news for them. Darling looks tricky on the wing for me as well. I think this is going to be another tight one. I hate saying 1-0 again, but I think Pats badly need to win this and show a bit of resolve. I think they might nick this 1-0, so Rory Feely suspended, by the way, as well, but I think Pats will nick this one 1-0. So Pats 1, Cork City 0. The other game on Friday night sees a big Dublin derby between Bohemians and Shelbourne at Dalymount Park. This is Phibsborough versus Drumcondra. You could pretty much throw a stone from Dalymount and it could well land in Tolka Park. They're that close. This is more of a kind of a North Dublin bragging rights derby, you know what I mean? Shells and Pats have a rivalry. Obviously, Bows and Rovers, that one is huge as well. But this is a different type of rivalry. It's a bragging rights in North Dublin, basically. Not just North Dublin, but that part of Dublin where they're very, very close. So it's going to be an interesting one because I've seen Shelbourne now a number of times and they fought like dogs so far. If they get in front again, I think they might be difficult to break down. They're difficult to score against, and so Bowles will need to keep it tight at the back. It'd be interesting if Bowles could go ahead to see how Shelbourne reacts. Now, in fairness, they reacted well when they went 2-down against Dundalk, to be fair. So they're able to play a couple of different styles, maybe. Bohemians do have the better players for my money, there's no doubt. Danny Grant came on as a sub the last 2 games, so he might be ready to start this time. Does seem like Corcoran's out, and Long's not sure who he prefers at the moment between McCauley and Wright. Neither have really stood up. McCauley's played the last couple of games. It'll be interesting to see if he sticks with him or goes with Wright for this one. Midfield battle will be interesting because Shelbourne had Deegan and Brennan, who are very good against Pats. I would suggest they go again there. Lunny has come in for Bowles in the last number of games to play alongside Buckley and Levinson, so it looks like a 3-man midfield there. And whereas none of them are really that flashy, they offer good balance, I think, for Bohemians in midfield, which is key. I'd imagine they go with Twardick out on the other side. Twardick and Grant probably be the 2 they go with. I do think Grant will likely start. Barker got a bit of a tough time up in Derry, so I wonder if Andy Lyons will come back in as well, so that'll be interesting. Cabia did pick up an injury for Shelbourne against Pats, so I'm not sure if he'll be able to play, but they have Enzo Fernandez who can come in and do, I suppose, similar things to Cabia. Carl Shepherd has started well for Shelbourne as well, and he's performed well, I think, too. Kilduff was missing for the Pats game, so it'll be interesting to see if he's back, and if he is, will he start ahead of Dobbs? Dobbs gives you something else. Kilduff can hold up the ball, good aerial threat. Dobbs gives you something in behind, run the channels. So good alternatives, I suppose, for Shelbourne, depending on the game plan and what they see in Bowles, I guess. All that said, I think Bohemians are going to win this at Daleyman Park. I do think they'll come out fighting after their defeat at Derry, and they'll fancy themselves against Shelbourne. Shelbourne will put up a fight, there's no doubt about it, but I think the Bohemians will nick this one 2-1 and have the bragging rights for a little while. Now, on Saturday, Sligo Rovers will be hoping that their game against Shamrock Rovers goes ahead, and I don't see any reason why it shouldn't. The weather has improved. In fact, it's a very nice day out there today. But their last home game was cancelled against Waterford, and they're looking to get off the mark, having had a couple of defeats. Shamrock Rovers, I should say, at home. It's not the game you need at this minute in time if you're looking to get off the mark. You never know what can happen in a game, but Sligo Rovers, I better stop saying Rovers because they're both Rovers. Sligo will be looking to put in a performance and hopefully get a goal in this game and really put the pressure on. They've brought in a new striker from New Zealand. They've got Coughlin. They do need more creativity, I feel, though, as well. It's not just necessarily that the strikers can score, and I think most Sligo fans will say the strikers haven't been getting chances, so what can you do? So they need a bit more from midfield. Niall Morahan has been very good, and I think he got Player of the Month, Supporters Player of the Month for Sligo. He's a young player to keep an eye on, and he's been very good for them in the first month or so of the season. They need to battle. They need to dig deep because Rovers have a lot of quality. Not only have a lot of quality, but they're playing very, very good football at the moment. And Shamrock Rovers, it's hard to look beyond them at this minute in time. They will drop points soon, there's no doubt about that, but it's hard to see Sligo getting anything from this game. I think it might finish Sligo Rovers 0, Shamrock Rovers 2 at the Showgrounds on Saturday night. Now on to the First Division, guys. On Friday night, Cabinteely will take on Shamrock Rovers 2 at Stradbrook. Cabinteely have had a great start of the season, 6 points to 2 games. Shamrock Rovers have had 1 point from 2 games, nearly getting the 3 against Galway in what was a game. There's horrendous conditions in that game. But Cabinteely 7 goals in the first 2 games as well, which is just incredible. And I see them scoring a couple here again. Shamrock Rovers, interestingly, have played a stronger team the last game against Galway. The likes of Dean Williams has come into the fray. Brandon Kavanagh, of course, as well. So they're good players to be able to bring in. Cabinteely seems to be playing with a momentum at the moment that's hard to stop. And, seeing of goals all over the pitch. Barnes got 2 the other day. Kieran Marty-Ward is obviously their talisman. I think it might be a difficult evening for Shamrock Rovers. I'm going to go Cabinteely to win by 2-1. At United Park, Drogheda, this is a huge game, I think, for Drogheda because they lost their last home game at home to Longford Town, one of the contenders. At this minute in time, you'd have to say UCD are another contender to go up. They were fortunate to beat Cobh in the last game 1-0, but they'll take that. And they drew 1-1 at Wexford, where Wexford got a late goal, so they were probably unlucky not to win that one. Students go into this game with a bit of confidence. Their 2 strikers, Madej and Whelan, are already off the mark, which is great for them. Drogheda won't want to drop points at home again because home form is going to be big in this division, particularly against your contenders. And whereas they were unlucky to lose at home to Longford, this offers them an opportunity to get 3 points on the board at home at United Park. I think they might mix things up a bit. I think Meany might come back in for this game. He hasn't really played in the last 2 games, certainly hasn't started. The likes of Mark Doyle can cause a lot of problems. UCD have a Doyle of their own as well, who's playing very well. So, look, this could be an intriguing game. I don't see many goals in this one either, though. Drogheda will look to start in the front foot and keep going and be tight at the back. And I know they were complaining about a few refereeing decisions the last day. They did get a player sent off as well. So if they can keep their cool as well in this game, I'll just about tip them. Drogheda United 1, UCD 0. Wexford will take on Galway United. It's been a difficult start for Galway United because their first match was postponed due to the weather. Their second match should have been postponed due to the weather, where they drew 1-1 with Shamrock Rovers B. Disgraceful scenes, really, to be fair. I know Galway players had to be treated with for hypothermia and frostbite, which is just ridiculous. I know there were calls for the game to be called off at half time. The referee refused it. Look, you don't know the ins and outs, but I mean, come on, really, let's be honest. So they have a point from their opening game. Wexford have started well in terms of performances. 1 point from 2 games, but you have to remember where Wexford are coming from. They finished bottom. Technically, they finished bottom last season. Second bottom due to Limerick being deducted 25 points. 2 wins all season, a lot of hammerings. But they've played UCD and Bray and they've got a point and they've put in good performances. They've some young players in there now that seem to be making an impact. Dan Tobin is a good player. He's kind of leading them a little bit as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on as the season goes on. Galway, impossible to judge so far. They'll just be happy maybe to get onto a pitch where you can actually play football on and perform and not have frostbite at the end of the game, to be fair. So I think Galway are a bit unknown at the moment as such. Will some of those players be available as well? I'm not so sure, but they're led by Shane Duggan, bags of experience, a lot of good young players. I'll tip them to nick this one, maybe 2-1. To Saturday's games for the First Division now, and Cobh Ramblers will welcome Athlone Town to Cobh, and this is a game whereby both teams will feel like they can get something out of. Difficult start for Athlone. Game against Galway cancelled, and then a defeat at home to Cabinteely where they were beaten 3-1. They did miss a penalty in that game as well, in fairness. Cobh, for their part, difficult start with the fixtures, to be fair. Draw on UCD, lost both games, competitive in both games. They'll be looking at home now to get something from. This is a game they'll definitely target and say, look, we can't lose this one, we have to get something from it. Athlone, tough start, only 1 game. I think they'll go into this game a little bit colder in Cobh. I think Cobh might get a result here. I'll tip Cobh Ramblers to beat Athlone Town with 2-1. The final game in the First Division, also on a Saturday, is Longford Town and Bray Wanderers at City Collins Stadium. Good start for Longford, 6 points from 2 games, 3 points from 2 games for Bray after that nightmare in Cabinteely. They hit back well with a good win at the Carlisle grounds at the weekend. Gone. Longford, superb win, to be fair, in Drogheda to nick the 3 points there. And they'll be looking to kick on again. Bray be looking for a much better away performance than the last away performance at Cabinteely where they lost 4-2 after being 4 down at half time. Longford at home, difficult. I think it's going to be a difficult place to get any points this season. Gary Shaw started very well for Bray and they'll be looking for him to get in amongst the goals. Verdon and Manley started fairly well for Longford as well. I think Longford will win this one. I think Bray will obviously be better than they were in Cabinteely. I can see goals in this one though. I think Longford Town might win this one by 3-2. So Longford 3, Bray Wanderers 2. Hey guys, that's about it this week for the preview show. Be interesting to see during the week how many results I can get right. I've done all right so far, actually, to be fair. In the previous weeks. Last week I think I got 1 out of 4 in the Premier Division, but I got only 1 wrong in the First Division in terms of the results. Some of the scorelines I've gotten right as well. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting weekend ahead in both divisions. It's great that the both divisions are off now, basically. So match day vlog on Friday. Not sure where I'm going yet. So we'll see about that one. But there's definitely going to be a match day vlog on Friday night without question. If you're new around here, please subscribe. Plenty of videos on the channel, the reviews of games, previews, match day vlogs going back since, I don't know, September, October. So keep an eye on them and have a good day, guys. See you later and have a great weekend. Good luck. Bye now.